All right, let's go. Welcome to JRC Stock Talk, and today we are live with an amazing pair of people. We have Ryan Shadle, the CEO of MVCO or Metavesco Inc., and we have Paula or Pixie Paula or Paula Dezzutti. She is amazing, and I'm glad to have her on the show. And right now, we're trying to introduce who Striped Pig is and who Paula is and why this is such a big deal. So thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, please go like and share this with everybody else. We want you to join in. We're going to be watching the comments and the chatter in here, and we'll try to engage with everybody that engages with us. So without further ado, though, at the bottom, you can find the Twitter handle for Paula and for Ryan and for JRC Stock Talk and for Metavesco, the company that's in question. So by all means, if you want further information, make sure you connect with these accounts on X or on YouTube or any of the other social platforms and stay engaged with everything that they put out for up-to-date information. All right, guys. Paula, thank you so much for being
You're
with me. It's
welcome.
an honor.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Hey,
thanks
I'm
for
gonna
being on
tell
here,
you,
man.
this is why everyone calls me Pixie, because it reminds us to stay in the state of magic, right? There's so much that we can do when we're operating out of knowing the unlimited possibilities.
I love it.
Yep. Pixie.
I agree fully. Well, I've got so many questions, but let me remove that. Don't need to give you horns. All right. So we're live on a Facebook profile. We're on X. The Spaces has started. Just let me get a check and make sure everybody can hear everything. Hey, guys, in Twitter Space, can you please give me a thumbs up if you're hearing everything properly and there's no sound problems? Hey, it's me, Brian. Say something. Make sure. Yep.
Twitter's good.
All right, we're good. Let's do this. All right, so I'm going to remove Ryan for just a minute because I want to get personal with Paula and introduce her to everybody that's here. So, Ryan, we'll catch you back on here in just a minute. There we go.
I wish
All
I
right,
could
Paula.
do that. I wish I could remove Ryan like that.
Oh, shoot. It's a fine skill. It's magic. All right. So just to get to know you a little bit, I mean, when did you get your start as an entrepreneur?
I started my first company when I was 9 years old. So I was do you want to know the story? I mean,
Yeah.
this got me the bug. So literally I was working in my aunt's hair salon, and my job for a nickel an hour was to sweep up the hair after they would cut the hair, sweep it up and in between the customers. And there was a woman that would come in all the time selling little Avon lipsticks to all the women under the hair dryers. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. You just walk in a door and you sell somebody a lipstick and they give you money. I'm like, I want to start my own business. So I told my mom that I wanted to do that. And she said, you have to be 18. At the time, they would go down to the Holiday Inn every Friday night. There would be this drive to get people to sign up to become Avon ladies. So I begged her to take me. And I absolutely schmoozed them over. And they were like, we think this girl could actually sell makeup. 9 years old. No, true story. So my mom had to sign me up. And I'm probably one of the longest running active Avon representatives. Still to this day, I have my link up on my Twitter. It's like, hey, if you want to order, use my link and I'll get a commission. And that started it. And I fell in love. I have this entire collection of Albies, all these dolls for selling Avon for, I kid you not, over 50 years.
Wow. Have you got the pink Cadillac yet?
No, that's Mary Kay.
Oh, Mary Kay. Thank you.
Chief competitor. No, and I'm going to tell you something. I did do my research with every one of these multi-level marketing products because I wanted the highest commission with no minimums to collect that commission. So it's like you got a commission for what you killed, yay. And that's why I stayed with Avon.
Wow. And that in 9 years old.
Yes. And then when I turned 18, I had to move my business out of my mother's name and into my name. And I got cheated on those 9 years of tenure because it looked like my mother was selling. Anyway, I love it. I love it. And that gave me the bug. And I just, I was an entrepreneur at heart.
It changes things considerably working for yourself, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
So that being said, what fuels your passion for business and establishing a brand?
All right. You're not going to probably hear this answer too often. It has nothing to do with my passion. Here's what I say. Passion goes and comes and flares and wanes, right? And you're like, oh, I've lost my passion. I don't have my mojo today. What really matters to me is my purpose. The purpose never leaves you. People always say, go chase your passion, follow your passion, the money will come. No. For me, I know what my purpose is. I stay true to my core. I stay in alignment with what my purpose is and what I know that my skills and my talents are, and I stay in my lane. And then nobody needs to get me inspired or turned on or in passion because I'm right in alignment with who my purpose is.
That's perfect. It was almost a trick question, but yeah, there's nothing that beats purpose. It is the foundation of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. What's been your favorite celebrity that you've worked with so far? What's the story behind it, if there is one?
Oh my God, you said celebrity and story in the same sentence?
Yep, on purpose.
There's a story behind every celebrity that I have worked with. And they've all been amazing and they've all changed my life and certainly shaped how I look at things. And I love them all for different reasons. But I've been with Lil Boosie for a very long time now, Badass Boosie. And he's one of our best friends. Yeah, our Boosie juice. Strawberry kiwi vodka and watermelon vodka. And I've been in numerous events with him, and he is definitely a character, and I love working with him. I have a lot of stories and some that I cannot tell. I love working with the Hatfield and the McCoys just because it's like family stuff and it's, steeped in history, similar to the Striped Pig story. So I love working with the Hatfield and McCoys, the original descendants. They were amazing. We're all good friends now. Tiny and T.I., interesting. A lot of great work. I love working with Tamika. And we did Tiny's Tequila, and going anywhere with T.I. is an interesting story to say the least.
He is a colorful character.
Yes, he is. And a great guy, a good guy. And I've spent a lot of time I own Pixie Records and Studios as well. So I tend to integrate with these music guys when they're building out their brands. It just goes hand in hand. They got a song, they want to drink. And so I love being in their studio. Waka Flocka and Deb Antony. Deb became a good friend of mine. Ray J and Brandy's mom became a good friend of mine. Dwight Eubanks, Housewives of Atlanta, Married to Medicine, Botch, one of my best friends to this day. We launched the Eubanks collection way back in the day, and doing New York fashion show with him. Again, one too many stories to talk about, but needless to say, I did what I had to do, including schlepping cases of alcohol around in a taxi cab through New York City in the middle of the night, running to Chinatown to get white shirts that I then went back to my room, cut the sleeves off, ironed, and then got presented for the runway. Crazy, crazy stories. The Braxtons were amazing, and I love that family too. Similar to mine, a lot of kids, a lot of siblings, so they got a great story. Right now, Mick Fleetwood, we've got the Fleetwood Pink Grapefruit Gin. He's a wonderful, wonderful gentleman, and everybody is great. I have a big surprise though that's happening. We're just signing the deal this week, so I think this is probably going to be my greatest story yet.
You can't tell people yet. It's a secret.
I know.
They got to have something to come back for.
I said to the lawyers today, I was like, can you please, I see you got the first draft going. Can you hurry up and get this deal signed so I could talk about it? Next week, hopefully, fingers crossed. So, and I love working with groups and communities and through our Sip and Share program, doing branded labels that really reflect a local voice as well.
Now, this question is another, but can you expound a little bit on how pivotal the Sip and Share program is?
So for me, when we talked about our really being tied to your core purpose, most people don't know this, but I'm a non-denominational ordained minister. And coming into this industry, I had to really reconcile in my head, why would the universe make this be my path and my journey? From a woman who doesn't drink. I mean, I drink a little bit now because I drink for a living. So people don't have to drink crappy spirits. So you've heard my tagline, I'm sure. She drinks for a living. She just doesn't swallow. Yeah, they post that a lot. Yeah. So it's being true to the fact that this is a multi-trillion-dollar industry and everybody is struggling to get brand loyalty. And it actually came to me in a dream. This entire strategy was revealed to me in a dream. And so I'm giving the universe credit. I mean, I feel like I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. This was pretty brilliant. And through the Sip and Share program, we're giving back to local communities in exchange for that brand loyalty. Now, you have to have great products. Although statistics show that consumers are willing to pay more for an inferior product in the name of charity. Well, I said, let's turn the model around. Let's give them a super premium product at a value price and take the savings and shift it back to the consumer in exchange for their brand loyalty. And let's not just throw it on the table. Let's have a call to action, meaning they actually have to buy the bottle. So it's just a wonderful model, and it really does give real meaning to Let's Drink Responsibly. It puts everybody into building the brand together, and it's palpable, the inspiration that's in a room when we're doing a Sip and Share event. Not to mention, we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's just feels so good. And we were actually just given the Sip and Share mini skirt proclamation by the mayor last Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. It sounds like you're rubbing elbows with the right people all across the board. Now, I've been around professional music for a while myself. My brother is a Grammy award-winning engineer, and there's a community within that community that is very affluential to any brand, especially if you have a good name and a great product like you do.
And it's a small industry. Everybody knows everybody. Yep. And
Yep.
they work together. They do pull. They're all in the same boat.
Sweat equity.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to bring Ryan back in here. Ryan, where are you at? Welcome back, Ryan.
I was just enjoying the show. I mean, it's great. I don't have to do anything. I can just watch and listen. It's great.
Could he hear what I said about him?
Oh, I heard. I took notes. Yeah. It's all right.
That's all right. All right, I have a question that's going to involve MVCO. So, I mean, have you been, Paula? This is directed at you, though. I want to see Ryan's response to this. Have you been thinking of ways that you can use the celebrity connections to cross-market MVCO? I mean, once you take the helm, and if so, who are some of the celebrities that you could get involved?
Are you asking me or him?
I'm asking you.
Oh, heck yeah, I've been thinking about it. So one of the challenges I face is trying to structure a deal with the celebrities, right? They all think their brand's going to be worth, this is how I filter. I say, what do you think your brand is going to be worth? Oh, my brand's going to be worth $1 billion. Okay, then why in the heck would you want a franchise or a licensing agreement instead of a partnership rev share? So let's just split this 50-50. And then if they go, hell no, then I go, okay, if you aren't even willing to invest in yourself, why would I be willing to invest in you? So for me, it's the litmus test. With the structure of a public vehicle and being able to have stock and shares, you can have something that's measurable and impactful, and they can get instant gratification for the rewards where they may not see that directly with rev share or brand equity because it takes so much time to sell the brand. So if you position this to say, look, you're going to have instant liquidity, which you can share on your own if you want to, and you can bring your friends and your community and your network to help build a brand, and then rising tides. So I do think it's a perfect opportunity to most of the celebrity brands that are out there, let's face it, I can name 20 of them and you're like, what? They did a brand? They're not successful. And part of it is because there's no way to really monitor this and market it like a business. This structure actually allows you to do that.
Yeah, it's tough. You gotta actually run the business.
Yeah.
They want to say they have one with the name on it, but they don't put any effort into it after it's established, and that's where they sit. That's where they burn and fade. I
Yes.
get it. So that leads me to the next question, which is going to tie into that a little bit. On your previous live stream, you mentioned you own many companies. I mean,
Mhm.
actually, Ryan mentioned it, and you just sat there and shook your head. But long story short, will you have enough bandwidth to handle running all of them?
So they're also vertically and horizontally integrated, that they are doing the same thing. Most of the businesses were structured because of licensing deals or protection issues or insurances. But for example, I'm having my tea with Skirt here now. Skirt magazine celebrating its 30th year. It really is just it's a media company. It's a publishing company, and Skirt is throwing live events that gather women together. And then what do? They have cocktails. And then what do? They run nonprofits. So they want the sip and share program to raise money for their nonprofit, and they want to sit there and try out the cocktails. It all goes hand in hand. I
That's a
wouldn't
great
do anything
tie-in.
like when I talk to you about staying true to your purpose and being in alignment, like everything that I do is so connected.
Now that says a lot for all the investors that are listening. There's a lot more meat to what you said than is on the surface. I mean, when you're looking at investing in a company, you're wanting to see that not only do they have a solid foundation, which is your purpose, but the things that you're doing have alignment, and that you're not going to be pulled in 20 million different directions, because you're being yourself where you're supposed to be, operating within your purpose and focus, and it's all going to work together, for the good, common good of those
Yes.
that are invested in the company.
Sure. And in a way, you've created a whole community, a town hall, right? Skirt and all of my followers, they're all my supporters for women rah-rah, women entrepreneurship. They all have their own businesses. They can relate to what I'm doing. I'm a leader to them. And so they show up to the events, and the events are held at the Striped Pig.
Perfect. And they leave with bottles.
And they leave with bottles.
And as long-term customers, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I went all around today in New York trying to find one of your products. I wanted to have it in the studio when I was online with you, but apparently it's not available in New York unless I
It
buy it through.
is.
Well, I have to buy it through you, and it gets shipped through a distributor, but I can't go to a store that I'm aware of in my location to find it.
Yeah, bad information. You can go to anywhere in Chinatown and find 3 or 4 of the
Oh,
Striped
I'm in
Pig.
Syracuse. I am like
Oh,
5 hours from New
okay.
York City.
Sorry, we're Midtown Manhattan, the Bronx. Okay, yeah. So what you would need to do is go to your local liquor store and ask them to pull it in. So New York Wine and
Oh,
Spirits
wow.
is our distributor. So anybody could order it in New York, any liquor store, even a restaurant could. But if you went to any liquor store and said, "Hey, can you pull this up and order it for me?" They'd have it in and probably in stock in 2 days.
That'd be awesome. I can't wait. I'm gonna now, is Boosie Juice available?
I think Boosie is listed in New York, but our watermelon vodka is not. It's the same product in the watermelon vodka as the Boosie Juice watermelon, just under the carpet there. But the
Okay.
strawberry kiwi, I'm pretty sure that Boosie Juice is listed in New York.
Awesome. I look forward. All right. On the can you share a little bit about your background with public markets?
I don't have a huge background from directly, like I've never gone public before, but I got my Series 7 and 6 and 63 in the early 80s. So I've been in finance my entire life, and I've sat on the board. Sat on the board to help take Duracell public. So I've been being weaned and educated for a very long time. I've also sat on numerous boards with many mergers, acquisitions, and hostile takeovers. And so that's where I got my experience. I also had a tax practice for a really, really long time, which allowed me to look at the books for many of these public companies. And then, of course, I do the research to figure out what I'm doing anytime I'm launching something. So I've been behind the scenes, and sitting at the right tables. So I knew the concepts. I'm familiar with what has to happen. I am over the top about keeping records because, I'm finance and tax. That's just what I do.
Wow. That's huge, because running a public company and a business are two separate vehicles. And, a finance background is the best thing you could think of to have when doing this. That's huge.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of the record keeping at all. It's in my blood. In fact, numbers speak to me. So that's how I get my downloads.
Wow. Investors look at quarterly revenue growth when investing in public companies. Are you currently seeing consistent revenue growth, or does it fluctuate from quarter to quarter?
So I go annually, and I'm so highly competitive with myself that if I don't have at least a 10% growth year over year since the beginning of business, which in this case is about 11, 12 years ago, I would like go nuts. I would beat myself up to no end, and I would be double jeopardy trying to make it up. From the perspective of consistent, like I said, you got to kind of look at it in an annual within this industry because it is a seasonal company. It's food and beverage and hospitality. So around the holidays, you're always going to have surges in sales. And then industry standard is a concept called OND, October, November, December, where distributors don't buy. We sell to distributors, right? It's a regulatory system. It's highly regulated, 3-tier systems. We sell to distributors. Distributors sell to the retail locations who sell to the restaurants, the bars, and the consumers. You can't bypass that system. And
Nope.
no matter what it looks like, you're still going through that system. Well, those distributors who are the middlemen, who, by the way, sometimes can make the most money on a deal, they have their bonuses by year-end inventory. So they don't want to be sitting on any inventory year-end. So therefore, the practice in the industry is for them not to stock up on anything in the last quarter. So typically, the last quarter will be your slower quarter for the annual overall, just because of that reason. They don't want to lose their bonuses.
Wow. Okay.
And I want to tell you the opportunity of why I am so glad the laws changed in our favor to be able to open our event center. Because from the retail perspective, that's when all the partying happens, is in the last quarter. You start into the fall, you've got Halloween, which is a big party day. You've got Thanksgiving. A lot of drinking happens because you're with your relatives during that time. People have to drink to get through the holidays. And then you've got Christmas and the parties and the employee parties and celebrations, all the corporate events, and then just buying gifts for your friends and family. So this capital raise that we're after will complete that event center and give us the opportunity to hopefully make our last quarter our best quarter. And that's what I'm after.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Way to overcome a small obstacle. Can you share a little bit about your background in finance and expound on how that plays into running a public company?
I touched on it a little bit, but I think that from years of experience, I mean, I told you I started my first business when I was 9. I bought and sold my first property when I was 18. So I got big into real estate development. And then when I was 21, I sat for my Series 7. So I have been working with all these clients on an ongoing basis to get a look at what their books are, to watch their trajectory of how they took a company public. And I learned, right? I just got to see so many. And it's one thing if you're just doing books for yourself, but when you're doing books for 30, 40 corporations, you're seeing how they operate and what their trajectories are. So you really get to learn. And like I said, I was part of the team that took Duracell public and part of the team that redesigned American Express in 1994. So I really got to sit at the table with all of the planning, and I feel like I'm perfectly cut out for this.
I think this sounds like a match made in heaven. I've worked with Ryan for quite some time, so I know his books are immaculate. Now, this question's directed at Ryan, considering that. Now, Ryan, when you're looking at bringing the two companies together on the books and having your financials in place to be QB or wherever you want to go with this, how difficult do you see that process being after looking at things with Paula?
Well, we went through a very detailed vetting process. She provided, and her team really wasn't even her; it was her team. I mean, she's got a great team in place. Okay, I mean, look, in the first, how long we've been on here? I don't know, 10 minutes or whatever. You see what she is. She's the real deal. Like, if there were any questions before that we've got the right person here, there should be 0 now. Okay. she's got a team. I sent her a long list with follow-ups. They provided everything that I asked for. They did it in the way that I asked for because I wanted it in a file, a Dropbox or a Google Drive, whatever it was. Yeah. I don't see any issues on the financial reporting here at all. I think that, as she said, I mean, she has an accounting background. She has a finance background. She knows this stuff. You can walk into the place and see that she really has an understanding. I mean, clearly she knows her business and her industry front and back. I mean, yeah, I have zero concerns about that. I mean, at this point, for me, I'm just ready to watch the fireworks because I know the components are all there. There's nothing left for me to do here. She's got the goods, man. There's the only thing left for me to do is to shout from the rooftops about how great this deal is for her and for the shareholders and for the OTC community. OTC has been looking for a banger, a local banger. Look, man, this is it. Okay, she's got everything you would ever want. I mean, she's the NASDAQ quality CEO. She's a NASDAQ quality CEO, and equally important, this is a NASDAQ quality business that's going in here. Okay. I shot a lot of content down there and for the last 3 days I was down there. Paula was a great host, by the way. Thank you.
Okay.
She, you can see through the content, the quality of what's there. These are real products. This is not some, she's not, in her mom's basement coming up with an idea and trying to sell everybody that, she's going to change the world. I mean, she might very well change the world. I mean, she just got so much energy. It's hard to
one step at a time.
Keep up with her. Okay, it's hard to keep up with her. I have a lot of energy. I mean, I'm like all over the place all the time, right? I had a lot more coffee than I normally consume. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, just to keep up with her. I mean,
I did get the Inspirational Woman of the Year award last night. Let's not forget.
I've never gotten one of those, so I get it. Yeah, I mean, she's the real deal. It's a real business. It's not a startup. It's not some hope and a dream kind of thing. I do think there is a dream here that she has, and I'll leave it to her how she wants to share that and in what manner. But you can
degrees Fahrenheit in a low of 70.
Oh, is that somebody's Alexa's going off?
She decided.
Yeah.
She decided she had to report the weather.
Nice. We're going to get taken over by the overlord soon. Yeah. So, there's just not you couldn't ask for a better situation for an OTC company, in my opinion, than what we've got right here. She has the background, not just in her industry, but also the finance side. There's no one that's going to pull the wool over her eyes on some toxic convertible debt. She will see that coming a mile away. She probably, because of her, the fact that she has Series 7, previously, I mean, it's been a while, but she probably has contacts out there that are going to reach out to her, that are going to come out of the woodworks that, maybe have forgotten who she was. And they're, oh, yeah, let's go talk to this lady. I mean, there's just so much. I can't even just think about all the different businesses she has and how she has them all working together. There's just so much good stuff. Yeah, I can't even I just can't even put it into words. It's
I get asked
the best situation you could ever ask for.
Financial conferences all the time.
Yep.
So, I mean, 2 or 3 a year, I'm keynote speaker at Bitcoin, PulseCon. Like I created I took the $1 trillion alcohol industry to the blockchain by creating the first NFT in the spirit space around the first barrel of bourbon ever made in South Carolina. So went from concept to waiting list in 20 minutes. Then I wrote a book about it. It's a best-selling book on Amazon. So I'm teaching financial literacy anyway. This is like my jam. And that's the whole reason I got into the spirits. When I said, you got to be kidding me, I'm looking at the only asymmetrical investment in the marketplace. You take a barrel of bourbon that's appreciating at 400% a year. No one's looking at this as a true asset class. I mean, I was out there trying to convince people that analog was going to go away and that we were going to have cable was going to be the next big thing, right? And we went through that and cable regulation, deregulation, re-regulation, and then streaming. So I'm used to this kind of stuff, to just colloquialize it.
Now, just to give people a broad vision of Stripe Pig and what you have going on, how many different products do you actually have in the market right now? Which ones are your highest revenue producers?
We've got 16 core SKUs, and part of the reason, and this is an ongoing argument with my team, is that if we're going to own the event center and we're putting the entertainment out there, and we have to make the base liquor for all of them anyway, then we will do some flavor product that add additional SKUs that are just easy to make. They don't distract or take away. There's no tied up inventory. We're a just-in-time manufacturing model, but that allows us to really serve the needs without having to have our own bar with all of our products and then, oh, we need a Hennessy, or oh, we need a Tito's, right? We are just all true to the core ourselves. Beer, wine, and spirits, everything we produce in-house. So that really gives us a lot of SKUs and the opportunity to have dominant SKUs moving forward with zero capital intensity on the part of these additional SKUs. Then the main ones are the ones that will surface, but it's not as easy as you think, or we would be. I mean, I'm not stupid, right? 80-20 rule, we'd be getting rid of the ones that don't matter. Given a long enough period of time, they tend to equal out. Bourbon is always going to be a higher producer on lower volume just because the price point is higher. But ultimately, we might have a Boozy juice that is a lower price point, but because everybody wants Boozy juice, it'll even out and sell a lot of liquid. So I would cut them out if they were total dogs. They're not. They're just not. So it's so hard to say, but definitely our bourbon is where I want to focus. Look, we have one of the largest collections of aged bourbons out in the marketplace. We are perfectly poised. I spent 8 years with these babies, probably as much years as I did with my children. They're all my babies. And, it's a lot of work. And you watch it. You want to make sure the temperature's okay. They're rotating. They're not leaking. Like, you're babysitting these barrels because this is an asset. And you are physically involved with a asymmetrical investment that is becoming more valuable just through evaporation. But because of that evaporation, the industry itself is forcing the value of the remaining liquid. Like, I don't even have to come up with the model for profitability. It's already out there. We just tapped in because I knew enough to look at this as a real estate play at the end of the day. It's having the product, having the event center, having a way to bypass all those distribution levels that we spoke about earlier, get the consumer really excited to feel part of the whole platform. And then it's, as I keep saying, it gives real meaning to Let's Drink Responsibly. And where prosperity and celebration are coming together, it's a perfect formula. Nobody's going to try to undo that.
Now, you mentioned a little bit ago, you touched base on the first NFT aged bourbon barrel. Can you tell us a little bit more about that NFT program that you have and how that fit in with your business?
Again, you're assigning an extra value. Now, in the NFT business, you don't really have any tangible. It's not an asset-based kind of operation. So what did I do? I made it asset-based. I tied it to title and ownership in a bottle in that barrel. So we actually broke it up to 111 individual NFTs that had just little nuances in every one of the NFTs. And that represents that town hall, that committee, that community represents ownership of that particular barrel. We did that 2 years ago, and actually 21. So it'll be 3 years ago on 11/11, my portal number. So November 11th, that NFT project will be 3 years old. And that bourbon will be 10 years old. So I'm going to give them the option to bottle it out if they want to. And individual shareholders could say, no, I want to keep my bottle in there. Other of them might come in and say, no, let's bottle it out. And that's how, it's representative of their NFT in the space.
So then once you bottle it out, do they get the bottle?
Yeah, they'll get the bottle.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, I would want to keep mine in longer.
You could, but some people they're like, I just want to drink this thing. They're over the whole, they're over the NFT craze, and they're like, give me it. I want to drink it, So, but
Awesome.
I think we're increasing value. Those are available on OpenSea, by the way. But I think that we're adding more value even to the NFTs as we're speaking, right? Because the company is growing. It's getting more visibility.
Wait, it's available on OpenSea?
Well, some people have it listed for sure.
It's there. I've actually, through due diligence, I actually located it. It's there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're trying to sell the bottle for.
I don't. When I looked, there weren't any for sale. I mean, it showed the ones like that had been, on the on chain previously, but there aren't any listed. That was 30 days ago, so that may have changed, obviously.
Wow. All right. Well, that leads right into this question. I mean, how does Stripe Pig fit in with Metavesco? The name Metavesco, meta, crypto, and I'm wondering how that fits with your business model, because I heard Ryan tell me directly, you're like, no, keep the name. It fits me perfect.
I really felt like we were tracking together just because, like I said, taking the industry to the blockchain, writing the book on alphabet soup, which is the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of all acronyms in the metaverse. And so for us, it's just my language. So I have a goal to, I trademarked a concept called Booze Bucks. You asked, what are you going to do? I'd love to have my own coin there, just called Booze Bucks. And I just feel like it's just a currency of the future. And I mean, when we work things and we're moving things around with trade within the organization and the industry anyway, right? It's still a currency. So it's my big dream that one day I'll have my own currency.
And a network of bars you can walk into and spend that currency at.
Exactly.
That could be cool.
That sounds pretty awesome.
It's coming.
Deal.
It's coming.
It's coming?
For sure. I'm saying even if I don't do it, it's coming. I mean, it just makes sense. There's no such thing as original thought, right? 50 of us are thinking of it.
And do you have any future plans in the crypto arena?
I sit on the board of directors for a token for autism called Quan2. I do like lending, understanding. We've got a local group in South Carolina, Ryan just met them, that are doing more education. It's a nonprofit education process around crypto. And I think probably from that perspective, I'll continue to serve. And it's also bringing in, I say, alternative investors who are open to alternative options for fundraising and, using a community to drive those. I find that those networks, everybody who invested in the NFT, in the Stripe Pig NFT, completely different networks, that I'll be communicating with on Telegram or Discord than what I might be on Facebook or Instagram. So it's a way to bridge communities.
Definitely agree. Once you take over, I mean, how much money are you looking to raise?
I would like to raise $5 million, but I have to raise it smartly. Right. We need about $1.5 million to finish off the entertainment space. And that's going to drive the ability to take $20 million worth of bourbon and convert it to cocktails at $76 million. So that is our primary goal. But strategically, I want to continue to raise the value of Stripe Pig Global Choice, because I don't want to raise $5 million at 10 cents a share. Let's face it. So I want to make sure that we're taking the money as we need to get the highest ROI on putting that money to work. And I say, get it pregnant in a million ways. I tend to use a lot of pregnancy analogies. 9 words anyway. Get it pregnant in a million ways, and grow the company strategically, so we're always maintaining the highest valuation.
Awesome.
You really couldn't ask for a better answer. You ask someone how much money are you going to raise and how are you going to raise it? You just copy paste that. There's not a better answer.
And natural progression here. I mean, do you already have investors who are willing to back you as a public company?
That's interesting. I think that they want to see that I'm part of this process. It's happening. And as they're getting so familiar with it and familiar with Ryan, they're getting that little FOMO start to happen. So I can see the little shift in my network going, well, what's happening? And so I think that there'll be a couple of big players, and actually people that I'd been talking to for years. Look, I'm always in the mode of highest valuation for the company, and I won't go down this road, but as a woman, I'm going down this road. As a woman, I don't want to argue the valuation. I don't. I know what I'm doing. And so a lot of times some people feel they can just step in and they have to tell me what to do. Trust me, you need 20 years in my industry, which I have, to even understand it. I want to write the book that says we already wrote little tiny books on, you know how they have the dummies series, like, you know, iPhone for dummies and
Yep.
streaming for dummies. Well, we did labels for Smarties, beverage formulas for Smarties. So we did the other way, because I said if somebody had just told me this stuff in the beginning, I would have saved so much time, right? The learning curve when you get into this industry, because it's so highly competitive, no one tells you anything. So we shifted it into a whole model for Smarties. And that's why I would have all these people stepping in telling me, no, here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do. And I'm like, did you do it? I mean, show me your success and your track record. Oh, well, I can tell you how to do it. I'm like, no, if you didn't do it, you can't tell me anything. So because of that, I don't want to argue valuation. I want to get it done. We run lean machine. And then instead of tell you, I show you.
Yep. I don't know. I don't think you're in the show me state, but it still applies.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, hey, little Boosie, I'm going public. I know you want some of my stock. Let's do a video together. Come on. Let's bring on Boosie Juice. Let's talk about your product. Let's show everybody you're buying stock in open market and see what happens.
Telling you.
It'll go viral. I'm telling you.
We'll get flooded with 1 million new brands. We'll be filling out all these intakes. We'll have everybody wanting to do a brand.
Now,
our in-house brand manager will be filtering tons and tons of emails. Everybody's going to want to do a brand.
but only certain ones will make it.
we created. I always wanted watching this. So one of my team members is trying to negotiate a deal with a restaurant, with like that 6-7 restaurant chain in Florida right now. So I'm watching the emails going back and forth between our attorney. We have an in-house attorney, in-house accountant. Again, we're serious, right? So we have trained everybody. Everybody's been with me 11 years, some longer. And so we have all these systems in place. Well, we created a 2 or 3 page questionnaire for everybody thinks that they don't need us, or we're not worth it, or why are they going to pay us all this money? We present the questionnaire. Well, usually 4 questions in, they don't even know how to answer. You know, what is your federal wholesale permit? Where did you get fingerprinted? What, you know, all these just crazy questions. That gives the value when they have you trademarked this? What was the last time you researched? Are they in the copyrights? And it just goes on and on and on.
Have you done your work?
Yes, exactly. And then they get to the bottom and go, I can't even fill out the questionnaire. I go, okay, then you probably qualify where you need to step over here, and then we'll give you an education. Here's what the costs are. So my daughter's she's like, can you just eliminate some of these questions? She's trying to talk him down. Can you get rid of some of this? Can you get rid of some of this? He said, I cut out 3 questions of like 30. I cut out 3 questions, but the rest, I want them to read it and put in NA. I don't want to remove the question. So we are solid. We are on top of it. We are educating, and we let people know there's a lot to building these brands, not just, so if they can pass the filter of the questionnaire, then they have a shot at getting a brand.
No pun intended.
Yes.
It's almost like you need to have like a Shark Tank type setup where they have an initial funnel and they have to go through this criteria to even get on the show with a panel of people that may or may not be interested in funding their brand, and prove what work they put in, how far they've come, you know, the type of recognition they got, and talk about, you know, will this liquor brand go further?
You're hired.
All right, I'll hold you on that one. Next, this is an important question. I mean, you briefly talked about expansions of the event venue, but as an investor, when they're looking at investing in a public company, they're going to be looking more towards the future. So do you have stages of expansion that you're looking at doing, and the time frames you're looking at going after certain things in, so they can get a visual picture of it? Could you expound on that?
Sure. So building a brand really does go in cyclical stages. There's not that much innovation in our industry, and you can learn from everybody's mistakes and watch what they do. If you move enough cases, you move up the ladder, and you get into what's called the rising spirits group, and people start to pay attention. I talked to you and said it's really a real estate play, right? The more you can get your product onto the shelves at liquor stores, the more of a threat you are to lost sales for the big boys. So a lot of these deals just get bought out and condensed just because you're a threat to any of their real estate. So the idea for us is we want to have enough of those case sales in 5 years that we become a dominant force in this marketplace, and that we've got vertical sectors across many SKUs in many platforms. And why? That's because beer, wine, spirits, beverage, like all of this all starts to feed the overall platform and the value you have with your distribution team. If you go to a distribution team, you're one client, one customer to them with one SKU. You show up as this little piece in their demographics and what they're tracking, right? With me, we're like, oh my gosh, it's like she's everywhere. I show up on every spreadsheet, in every company, in every model. And so that's the whole idea, is being a dominant force in the space, and then staying true to our core integrity, who we are, our professionalism. I mean, we have the best team. Ryan mentioned this, but we really, really do. We are so well respected for our innovation, our integrity, our impeccable record keeping, our commitment to, we do what we say we're going to do. Nothing's going to get dropped. There's no missed orders. There's no mishap. We're so seasoned from having done it so long. Part of that is the advantage of family, right? You are 24/7. You are on. You are working. They are committed. This is their future, their inheritance. It's all they've ever known. And given I was such an entrepreneur at such a young age, I birthed my sales team. I birthed all of these little mini entrepreneurs. And so they have been in it, the whole time. So 5 years out, we will have 40,000 cases minimum out. Well, that's my goal. The reason I want that is because we're back to those specific formulas where, if you move around 40,000 cases, you're going to be talking negotiations at a $200 million buyout. That's one brand. We have the ability through our platform to build multiple brands. And because we're an incubator accelerator model with just-in-time manufacturing, we're not committed to throwing away dollars on inventory that, as you mentioned, the celebrity thought they were going to go somewhere, and it was just a hobby. They were just, what I call a vanity brand. They just wanted to get up there and say, look at me, I got my drink. And you see it on the Emmys or the Grammys, and that's it. You never see it again. So that's our advantage. It's not even our human currency that we have, the intangible asset of our company. It is our competitive advantage.
I'd have to say so. Thank you very much for saying that. Look, I mean, there's a lot at play in this, and this is a huge deal. This isn't something small. I'm excited. I'm going to be buying stock personally. Now I got a question.
She's impressive, isn't she? You're like, holy shit.
Well, look, I also have a degree in ministry, so I'm not going to say that part, but yeah.
Go ahead.
So that brings me to Ryan. I mean, how long are you going to keep this guy around after you take the helm?
All right. So here's my human side. I said he can't leave. I need him. I want him to be quiet, but what do you have to say? I get too attached. She's like family already, So
I don't know. She was trying to throw me under the bus a little bit ago. I heard that.
That's right. That's what I said. I said I want you to be quiet, but I want you there. So perspective, right? He has such invaluable experience in the marketplace, that things that I don't know. Not even if I did know them, you always need somebody watching your back, and everybody has to have a person. Right? We all need a person. Yeah. So Ryan's becoming my person. So I would say, okay, what do you think about this? Here's what I'm going to do over here. Just to get, in case, my eyeballs can't be everywhere, or I can't think of something. And he'd say, oh, well, what about this perspective? Did you ever think of it this way? And that just opened up my mind. And then I know to do the complete opposite, and it'll be a home run.
And he's seen a lot. I'll tell you that. He's been through a lot. So.
That joke went right over his head.
No, I got it. I was trying to process if it was funny or not.
This is great.
The thing about Pixie that I love, and you get praise all the time. So I know you it's like, you probably don't care at this point. I mean, you get an award once a week for being awesome. I mean, you probably got like a wall in your house with just awards. If there was an awesome award,
it's a Pixie shrine.
Yeah, I'm not even surprised. Okay. So you got to understand, for Josh. Okay, I get a lot of deals get brought to me, and you've known me a while. I turn most of them down. Okay, most of them are like, pipe dream, hopes and dreams, and we're gonna save the whales or whatever the hell, like we have no money, but we're gonna create lithium batteries for cyber trucks, just stuff like that. It's usually just like whatever, It's like you're trying to sell a story, that's fine, but you need something, right? And I've turned most of them down. I initially was not interested in this deal. The guy who presented it to me said, "You need to go meet Paula." Fine. I'll drive my ass 6.5 hours and meet this lady. And I did. And immediately I said, okay, we need to do this deal. I need to learn about the business also, but I already knew that immediately. You can tell immediately, like, you get on, how many of these interviews have you done? And you're like, yeah, the guy's kind of smart, but he doesn't have that stuff she has. And I totally get now where you come up with that whole pixie dust thing. I totally get it. Because, I guarantee you haven't done an interview with an OTC CEO that's got what she has. I know it. I just know it. And
you gotta be careful. I did an interview with you.
Hey man, she's got the stuff I don't have. I got my own stuff, but she's got some special stuff. And my job as a public company CEO, it will always be to do what's in the best interest of the shareholders. And sometimes that means just getting the hell out the way. And that is the case. She's got the goods. There's no reason for me to I'm going to make so much money. Shareholders are going to make so much money. She's going to make so. Hey man, give her the reins and let her go. I'm totally okay with it. I will support her any possible way to help her be successful, to help her brands grow. I love her products. The ones that I haven't tried them all, but I've tried, I think 7 of them now. It's great stuff. I love her family. Her Remy, he's awesome. This is the real deal, man. And I'm happy at this point. I'm playing my role, which is to get the deal closed. Okay. And I feel like we're mostly, the way there on that. And then just support her and the company and provide whatever insight I can that benefits her and the shareholders. And that's my role, and I'm great with it. And she's going to do such an amazing job. I hope that enough people pay attention to what's here, because it really is something special here that has not been seen on the OTC in at least 5 years. This is something special.
He did say to me, you're going to be so busy and so inundated and have so many people schmoozing you and wanting to be part of this that you aren't even going to think about me anymore.
It's going to happen. Look, people are going to be calling you, messaging you, emailing you. Hey, come on my show. Hey, I want to talk to you about some money. We want to raise you some money. We want you to come on a deal show. You're going to have so many people, it's going to happen. I've been through it, and I don't have half of what you got. I just know it's coming.
I will tell you very directly, most of them you should say no to.
Most of them you should say no to.
Yes, you need the mentor on that one, because there's a lot of vultures in OTC markets, and you do have an amazing structured vehicle. And that, for investors, that's huge. It's amazing structure that you're moving into. You've got the right stuff. I really think that as long as you keep away from those bad people, you're going to go shoot to the moon. I have no doubt.
I'll keep them away.
Like Ryan said, I can spot him a mile away.
Yeah.
Good.
She's sharp.
Yeah.
I like that about you.
And I just turn everything to the other person and say, well, why don't you help me walk through this? And I let them sink their own boats.
It's not hard when they got some fishy stuff going on. Yep. Mm-hmm. So that leads me to a final question. When investors are looking at this as an investment now, they're looking at Stripe Pig in Metavesco, the 16 different retail brands you have going on. I don't know how many brands that are going to be coming on board. The potential, which I heard in your live video, for the beer brand to be added to your event venue, potentially, but not necessarily, because it's not been announced yet. Hopefully to the Metavesco brand as another revenue producer. It's like, what do shareholders, what are they looking for over the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, as I mentioned to you, I have never gone backwards, only forward in my entire career. So I know that our numbers are always going to be better than they were the year before. I mean, that's just me. Like I told you, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night because I'm too self-competitive.
Excellent.
And yeah, so that's going to happen. And, you know, I can't make a prediction, but I think that it's going to absolutely be exponential, not linear like it's been. It's been somewhat linear because because we didn't raise the capital, right? I didn't want to give away the company until I had the highest valuation. I didn't want to argue that valuation. And as I mentioned, I don't want to raise $5 million at 10 cents a share. I want this to be a profitable company for everybody. Everybody has to win. But the opportunity for the exponential growth here and the change in the curve is because so many people will feel part of our journey that I really believe they're going to start buying the product. They're going to share the story. Maybe if they're now that they're aware of it, even if they weren't shareholders, they're going to see it and go, oh, I heard that story. I'm going to try this striped pig. We didn't even talk about the story of the striped pig itself, which is steeped in history to 1838. It's a fascinating story. Go look it up because it's just, as that story gets told, we're bringing back the awareness of history. Most people are familiar with Prohibition. They don't know about the temperance movement or the 15-Gallon Act of 1838, which is what the striped pig is all about. And so the more we tell the story, the more we wet the whistle, the more, like, we're sitting on this bourbon. We've been sitting on it waiting for prime time. Prime time is happening. At the same time, we're bringing a public mechanism, a public vehicle to unleash the bourbon, sell it off. And hey, you were so excited about the asymmetrical and the asset-based NFT. You now can drink your shares. You can hold your shares and drink your shares.
It's a
right?
great pitch.
It is truly
And buy
a
your
liquid
shares and
asset.
watch them go up.
It's truly a liquid asset. So you can just make it happen. So it's not only on me, right? This is an opportunity for an unlimited potential of shareholders to come together and raise the value of this company. That does not happen in a lot of strategics. It just doesn't happen. So we have the perfect recipe to make that all come together. And that's why I don't think it's going to be linear. It's going to be exponential. And we talked about FOMO. As the distributors are getting out there, they don't buy bottles at a time. Distributors will buy pallets at a time. And so if I just open up one new customer in one state, that's a couple $100,000 that I didn't have yesterday, and it can happen in one phone call. So we just need to get the story out there. The quality is there. Like I said, you can't talk this big game if you didn't have the product to back it up. And well, actually, you know what? There are some crappy products out there with a lot of people who don't raise the money, and not that they mismanage, but they may not have the experience that I have, and they're not used to running lean. So put all that together, and I think it's whew.
Something I want to point out that she said earlier, and I don't know if you picked up on it. The valuation on the bourbon. So she said 20, and I think you're rounding because it's 18, right, Paula?
Well, yeah.
Okay. But that's the barrel bourbon. When you turn around and you sell that in shots, it's $75 million. Am I right?
That's
Am I right on that number?
76 million, but yeah, it just depends on what.
76? Okay.
Look, if you do a cocktail, it's right. It's a number formula. It's
Yeah.
How many cocktails are you going to get out of a bottle of alcohol? How many bottles do you get out of a barrel? Are you going to charge $11 per cocktail or $12 per cocktail? I
Right.
mean, you can bring in a couple of million more just by going up 50 cents on a cocktail. And who's going to bark? No one.
And that, what I'm getting at is there's an arbitrage, okay, from the deal structure end of it, which is, that's my job when I put the proposal together here. Okay, like where's the value part, the meat of it. You got something that's valued based off of being packaged this way, but it's valued 4 times as much being packaged this way. She already has the product. She doesn't have to go make it. She doesn't have to hire someone to like third party white label it for her. She has the product already, and it took her 8 years to get it. Okay, there's a hidden value here. And we can't value it that way in the deal because it's conceptual based off of being able to sell that thing packaged this way. Okay. But she has a plan that will allow her to sell it that way. And so I wasn't going to bring it up because it's, again, it's her concept and the way to do it. And I don't want to get in trouble with the SEC or anybody else for trying to value that. But I feel that's a nugget that is in this 1 hour and 4 seconds that needs to be, pointed out now that she's brought it up and brought it to light. That 18 million can be worth 76.
It's more than just the revenue on the finished goods, though, because in our industry, the brand valuation is what carries the weight. It's the, oh gosh,
yep.
she might become a threat. Let's start negotiations early, right? And so that is the real opportunity, is that even though you've got all these 8 years tied in, I knew from the beginning, again, I was an executive brand manager for numerous successful beverage companies. I sat on so many celebrity brands that fail. I just watched and learned. I do not need to repeat the mistake. Nothing has changed in our industry. They are not innovative at all. So if you learn and you have a brain, you can figure this out. I said the worst thing between the interruption of capital was the interruption of supply. Because if you get an order that you worked a year for to get, and your distributor doesn't want to get the product, or somebody's paying off your manufacturer to make sure you don't deliver those goods, they fill that shelf space with somebody else's product and you don't get back in again. And so that interruption of supply, I needed to make sure that I had from a foundation. So right, wrong, or indifferent, I said, I'm going to build my assets first. I'm going to make sure that the platform is ready. I'm going to build the relationships with everybody so that when I turn on the storyline and we execute, we have delivery without interruption and we can go and take over those shelves. Now, I didn't predict something that is actually happening right now. So many mismanaged companies, breweries and distilleries, and I don't know if this is a good thing to talk about or not, but they are going out of business. This means we who know what we're doing and have been able to sustain all these years on our own have the chance of taking what they left off. And we're talking some significant brands that have left. Mostly it's mismanagement stuff. I mean, they get excited, they bring in some money, and they're buying jet cards and Lamborghini, right? I'm sorry. It's just how it is. I'm Italian. I got to squeeze.
What's wrong with a Lamborghini?
All right. You know what I'm saying. So cart before the horse. I'm saying that we are so perfectly poised right now to really get our product in front of everybody. And I do believe that the public vehicle gives the way that I've got a whole bunch of storytellers, because once they say, hey, this dinner table conversation, hey, I bought this Pixie lady's Holy Spirits today. It's some kind of inspirational vodka. I mean, I could just see the conversations. You're going to have conversations around alcohol that would never have been had if I wasn't in the picture. And that's the truth.
Well, there you go, folks. You have that in a nutshell. We have an amazing deal that's been put together, and they have 30 days from the announcement of the LOI to close this deal, and they're working closely on that. We've seen volume starting to pick up, the spread tighten. There's more and more people finding out about it every minute, and I'm glad to be part of that. As Paula, thank you so much for coming on this show. You're a bright spot in my current situations. Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. It's delightful.
Let me go ahead and look on Spaces and see if there's any questions that people have.
I've got a number of messages, but they aren't questions. They're statements. I'll read a few of them to you.
Go ahead.
Am I allowed to use profanity on here? I don't know the rules.
Pixie is the Ray Kroc of bourbon.
Here you go. Holy fuck. She's the real effing deal. He's the female people CEO. I mean, there's a whole bunch of these I got being messaged to me here. So, yeah. I'd say it's pretty good reception.
Yeah. Sounds good. Love that. I mean, I'm getting tons of comments like this. I don't see any questions. Let me see if there's any hands raised. Yeah, I made sure we covered everything when we talked about this. So I guess my next question is going to be, can I have you on here again?
Absolutely. It's lots of fun. I told
Awesome.
you this. I'm committed to teaching financial literacy. This is just one of the liquid assets.
And I hope it's a sounding board that makes a huge difference for you for years to come.
Thank you so very much. I do really, truly appreciate it. I'm, being tongue in jest here, but I really do appreciate it all.
No problem. Anything you want to say to everybody before we transition in the show?
Is that a Ryan question?
That's both of you.
I got a message that says, "Nice knowing you, Ryan. Pixie, call me." Not kidding. Literally just got this. Nice knowing you, Ryan. Pixie, call me. Hey, I'm okay with it. Knowing how busy she is, I appreciate you making the time out to come talk to people, and I think it's a good hour spent. And Josh, always appreciate you having me on, man. And look forward to. I'm going to hang out and watch the rest. I'm going to drop stream, but I'll watch the rest of the show with Shito and Pat.
Excellent.
I'll close with my Pixie prediction because I think it's
Let's
the
go.
most important thing. So I really truly believe this, and I'm always quoting this because from the bottom of my heart, I believe that the emerging leading products and services of the future, especially with our technology today, are going to come from the people who were meant to be emergent leaders.
Love it.
And without any further ado, we'll close on that fantabulous statement. We're going to transition now to a period of time where we talk open mic session about the stocks that you guys as investors are looking at and the due diligence behind them. So, Paula, thank you so much for having you on. Ryan, it's amazing. Guys, I will do this again. It's truly been an honor, and now it's time to transition.